She reached for oranges the way my wife used to, testing weight, rolling one in her palm like it could confess something if pressed hard enough. I stopped breathing. The market noise thinned into a distant hum like my head had been shoved under water. 5 months dead. A closed casket, soil packed flat, paperwork signed in ink that refused to bleed. And yet there she was. Same hair, darker at the ends, same scar at the wrist, thin and pale, the one I memorized while pretending not to watch her sleep. She laughed at something the vendor said. The sound didn't reach me. My pulse did. I didn't say her name. Saying it would break the spell. Or me. I followed at a distance that felt surgical. Not close enough to spook her, not far enough to lose her. She walked with purpose, not like someone resurrected, not like a ghost, like someone who had somewhere to be. She turned onto a side street I didn't know. I slowed, counted steps, watched her unlock a door with a practiced twist of the wrist. Home, not ours. The door closed. I stood there with the oranges rotting in my throat and a single thought tightening its grip. Dead things don't need keys. Grief had taught me discipline. It trained my face to remain neutral while my insides rearranged themselves into something harder, something quieter. So I didn't knock. I went back to the market the next day. Same hour, same stall. I watched reflections in freezer doors, windows, the convex curve of a car mirror. She wasn't trying to hide. That was the first betrayal. The second came when I noticed the ring, thin gold band, unfamiliar, resting on the finger that once wore mine. I remembered sliding it off her hand in the hospital. Cold skin, no resistance. The nurse looked away. My wife had died with no ring. I checked the death certificate again that night. Same name, same date, cause listed bland and final. No room for interpretation. I told myself coincidence is just chaos pretending to be clever, but chaos doesn't share scars. I followed her again, this time farther. Watched her greet a man at a cafe. His hand rested at her back with ownership, not affection. A child ran to her knees. She bent without hesitation. The child called her mom. My chest didn't hurt. It hollowed. I cataloged details instead. The way she nodded when the man spoke. The slight flinch when a siren passed. The practiced normalcy. A double life requires rehearsal. My wife had always been good at memorizing lines. I became meticulous. Phone records first. Not hers. Mine. Old shared plans. Archived backups. A number appeared in the months before her death. Frequent. Short calls. Always before dawn. I ran it. Unregistered. I requested hospital logs under the guise of closure. The intake nurse's signature was wrong. A loop where there should have been a line. Small. Deliberate. I watched the apartment across the street from her new life. Mornings. Evenings. The man left early. The child left with him. She stayed behind, curtains half drawn, living like someone who expected to be watched but didn't fear it. I mailed myself a DNA kit under a false name and fished a hair from a park bench she sat on every afternoon. Clean work, gloves, no rush. Waiting became my religion. At night I replayed our marriage with a colder eye. The trips she took alone, the locked drawer, the way she insisted on cremation, then changed her mind. I had signed the consent forms without reading them. Love makes liars of us all. The results arrived on a Tuesday. I didn't open them. Not yet. I needed to see her again, up close, to hear her voice shape the air, to confirm the cadence of lies. I stood behind her in line at the pharmacy. She smelled the same, cedar and soap. She didn't turn. Good. I wasn't ready to be recognized by someone who shouldn't exist. The envelope tore clean. 99.9% match. The numbers didn't shake. I didn't either. I waited until dusk, knocked once, stepped back, hands visible, non-threatening, a courtesy she hadn't afforded me. She opened the door and froze. Time finally obeyed me. Her face cycled through calculations, denial, assessment, Damage control. I held out the paper. "You look healthy," I said. My voice was steady. I admired that. She didn't cry. That would have been easier. She whispered my name like a test. "I know," I said. "About the fire, the body, the bribe." Her shoulders dropped. The truth does that, removes the need for posture. "He would have ruined us," she said, nodding toward the other room. "The man, the child. You would have fought." "Yes," I said, "I would have." Silence pressed in, thick, deserved. I didn't raise my voice. I slid a second envelope onto the table, copies, bank transfers, hospital logs, a statement notarized by a man who owed me a favor and feared daylight. "I filed this already," I said, 2 hours ago. Her breath fractured. "They won't take the child," I added. "I made sure of that." She reached for me. I stepped back. "This ends quietly," I said, "for me." She sank into a chair like a puppet released from obligation. The man appeared in the doorway, confusion blooming into panic. I met his eyes. He knew then. Men always do, eventually. I left them with the paperwork and a truth that would rot their sleep. Outside, the air felt earned. I didn't go home. There was nothing left there but furniture trained to remember us. I walked until the city forgot my name, until my thoughts stopped circling and started lining up. She hadn't died. She had chosen. And choice, once seen clearly, strips grief of its power. I didn't feel victorious. I felt precise. Somewhere, a life built on my absence was collapsing under the weight of daylight. I wouldn't watch. I didn't need to. The dead don't come back. They just stop pretending. And so did I.